Hey, what's up, man?
Yo, hey, dude, what's going on?
Hey, nothing much, man. You doing all right?
Yeah, it's Monday. Busy ass Monday.
I know, right? Oh, you got a lot going on, don't you?
Dude, so much stuff.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we're like slammed right now with printing, which is good. Like, I want to be.
Yeah.
But like, we're trying to hire people and we're doing renovations on the building, and like Corona thrown in the mix is kind of a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
So like we're not affected really by it, but like shipping times and stuff for like stuff getting to us, that's what's screwing us.
Yeah.
It's stuff just like being late for no reason, or I mean, obviously there's reasons, but like, it is what it is.
Yeah. I've seen your renovations going on, and that's exciting though, man, that business is going good for you right now. That's great.
Yeah. So how's things in Virginia?
It's, you know what? It's the same for me. Business has been great. Like, I do a lot of commercial stuff, local commercials.
Yeah.
And advertising kind of dried up, but right around that, everybody wanted live stream stuff. And I'd invested in the equipment late last year. For some reason, I just thought, I wanted to start getting into it. And then, yeah, man, that's kept me busy since March. Like,
that's awesome.
Yeah, and I've got a really big event coming up the end of this month, and the Academy, they've been doing concerts and we've been live streaming it, but it's been fun. Like,
so honestly, what do? You just go set up for that and then kind of back off?
Well, no, that's one of the things I have to set up. I do a multicam, so I do like, it's depending on the event, it could be 3 to 4 cameras, and then I have preloaded content, so it'll be a whole show. We'll load videos in, and then they'll do the performance, and then they have like a sponsor video and stuff. So it's fun. I get like basically a private concert, so that's been nice. Yeah. The funnest one was an Elvis impersonator.
Really?
That was fun. Oh yeah, that was fun.
So what did you do for him?
Oh, he just we just go in, and the Academy, they have their own audio setup, and it's in a historic theater, so it's absolutely beautiful, right? So I'll come in, they've got the audio, the lighting, everything, and then I just handle all the cams, and I have my own switcher I bring, and I've got my own setup that I'm kind of in the corner, and then I tell them to go, and then they go.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fun.
Have you had like much time at home, like quarantine wise, or you just been kind of like doing stuff?
I work from home now. I used to have a studio like for the last 3 years. In the beginning of this year, I was like, I'm just ready to work from home. I was living at the studio, so I came home. But it's been, I don't know, man. It's been like I'll work 2-3 weeks solid, like no break. Yeah. And then I'll get a week where I have like a day or two, and then I'm usually doing Hill City Paranormal stuff in those days, like off filming a short film or something, just creatively catching up on doing my podcast and stuff like that.
Yeah. You been getting any good Netflix shows or catching up on anything while you had some time?
Oh my gosh, what did we just finish? We finished the Jeffrey Epstein documentary.
Dude, I watched like a little bit of that, and the funny thing is I didn't know anything about it. Like I saw a thing about a documentary about a guy, and I was like, oh, that name sounds familiar. I start watching it, and then it was all about like young girls and stuff, and I was like, I want nothing to do with this.
It was so, oh man, that was the whole time you're just frustrated. You know what I mean? You're like, you got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me. But I've been hung up on old retro horror movies lately. Yeah. So I subscribe to Shudder, and man, I've been like every night. I've done Creepshow, Halloween, Friday. All the old tech. Like the other night was Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I don't know. It's weird,
dude. I can't like literally that entire subscription service. I can't watch anything on there. Like
really.
I love like sci-fi stuff and stuff like that, but I cannot do straight up like some dude just getting fucking stabbed.
Now, see, all right, you gotta watch. All right,
I can't do it. I can't.
Texas Chainsaw. I was the same way. All right, I'm like Star Trek. That's
my speed.
Deal, right? But
I could watch an alien like ripping a dude into pieces in front of me, and I'm like, oh, that's cool, that's good. I like how they did that. And then I watched where it's like some fucking creepy ass neighbor from down the street comes in your house and like ties you up. That's just like, no, I have no desire to watch that at all.
No, I can't do the newer stuff. But for example, from a filmmaking standpoint, like I appreciate the original, the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, just because how simple it was.
Yeah.
And if you watch it now, there's very little blood. There's only like one on-screen death that he's actually hit over the head. Other than that, like it's almost Disney Channel. Like it's not that bad. You know,
it is not almost Disney Channel. Old Disney, where it was people were smoking and doing things.
So like what are you watching on Netflix? Like what
I like I said, like sci-fi stuff. I like westerns. I like real gritty stuff where it's like, you know, not like big action like stuff mostly. It's more just like, I don't know, like the stuff behind me, like Hell or High Water, like that. Okay. That's like one of my favorite movies on there. But like I love my favorite shows from all time is X-Files. So like I ended up watching through again all of the X-Files on there. I don't know, stuff like that. It's that's my speed. Stuff that's just like not necessarily creepy, but just like you know, I don't know. The gritty stuff is my favorite, basically.
You know what's funny? My wife and I we cut the cable, like I think it was like 2 years ago.
Yeah, we did that
so
too.
We've been hooked on the Pluto TV. Have you the Pluto TV app? Oh man, if you have a Roku box or Apple TV or whatever, download Pluto TV. It's all free. They've got like 500 channels. Like they've got a dedicated channel for just Baywatch or Walker, Texas Ranger, the Addams Family. So like we were hooked on Baywatch for about 2 weeks. And then now we're hooked on
like
Walker,
starting
Texas
from the
Ranger.
beginning.
Oh yeah. They start from the original, and then you just like binge it. It's just one channel. It's all Baywatch, and then like one channel it's all Walker. Oh man, I'm hooked on Walker right now. Like it's fantastic.
I used to love Quantum Leap when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
So like I've been scouring like used movie stores and stuff to get like the seasons. I have 2 of the seasons.
Yeah.
But I kind of want to just go through and binge that one day. But it's not like on anything. You know what I mean? You can't like watch it on a service or anything.
The only one you can catch it on, and they have an app too. It's called Comet TV. All right. It's like a local it's the same people that have ABC, but it's Comet TV. Download that app and they'll play it. You'll see this guy. They play it just about, I don't know, it's like 2 days a week. You can catch it late, but you never know what episode though.
Right. Yeah. I want to watch I want to watch like 3 or 4 episodes a night.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't blame you. That's a good show.
Dude, it was really good.
Yeah.
It was cool for the time. You know, I was a little kid and like my mom would watch it or whatever and I'd be like, whoa, this dude's like fucking traveling through people's bodies.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's awesome. Because every episode it was like he ended up like doing in somebody and he was just like, oh, I'm this guy now.
I caught one the other night. Like I'll be flipping through and man, this one he actually went back and he stopped his ex-wife from getting married again because he was a criminal. Like it was great. Like it was like the storyline was wonderful.
Yeah, I don't know. I like it a lot.
Yeah, that's a good show.
Yeah. What's like one of your favorite like alien movies?
Oh my gosh, Aliens. I would say the second one, the James Cameron one. What was the one? One came out recently that was really good. It had Ryan Reynolds, Jake Gyllenhaal.
Oh, Life?
Yes, that was good. I thought that was great. Like that one, the way they did that one, that was wonderful.
I forgot about that movie.
Yeah, that was kind of like a low key. Like Ryan Reynolds didn't last that long in it. You know?
Yeah. Well, that was. Yeah, I think that was like the thing is it played this movie off like it was going to be the 3 of them all movie, and he died like first thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I loved how that one was done.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Man, I can't think of the old.
Well, A Quiet Place that came out not that long ago. It was pretty
good. Yeah, that's true. That's a good one. That is a really good one.
I'm trying to think of one. I think The Thing and Contact are my two favorites, like all-time favorite alien movies.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously there's like Aliens, like those
Yeah.
movies, but just like weird off ones. I think The Thing to me was like, that was one of those movies where I never saw it like a long time. I probably saw it like 10 years ago. And like a buddy, me and him watched it and I was like, holy shit, this movie's amazing.
It's good. It's good.
And
Man, John Carpenter,
so
like he's another, what I watched The Fog, the original Fog the other night. And that is like, I'm like you, I didn't watch it when it originally came out, like for some reason, like now. And I'm like, man, this is a great movie. Like, how did I miss it all these years?
I know.
I'm gonna have to go back and watch The Thing. I haven't seen that in a long time.
Well, the funny thing is they came out with like the second one. They came out with another thing, but it was supposed to be what happened in the other station. Like it's like a prequel. Yeah. And I thought that one was cool too. Like it's not as good as the other one, but it's really good. It was just like, cause you watch the first one and you're like, oh, this is badass. Like I wonder what happened in the other one. And then they made another movie that was all what happened at the first station.
Oh yeah. So, I never saw that. I'll look that one up.
It's not that old either. It's like the second one's like well, I mean now it's probably like 8 years old, but like, you know, it's not in our terms to when the first one was. It's not that old.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I've always been into like Bigfoot stuff for some reason. Like I like the documentaries and I like just like the lore around everything. And like, I've just been a fan and like collect things. I'd never gotten like super scientific and nerdy into like super into this stuff, but me and my buddies watch, like we get together. We used to get together all the time on like every Friday and like play, like it sounds nerdy to say, but like a LAN party, like get together and like 2 TVs, 2 Xboxes, play, you know, 2 player on each one. So we would play that until like, you know, 11 and 12 o'clock. And then we would always watch some like super like B movie, like a Bigfoot movie or like a creepy alien movie or something. And I ended up buying, I have like a whole rack on my shelf that's nothing but like super cheap Bigfoot movies. Yeah. And like, that's what people don't understand how many there are. There are so fucking many.
There are a ton.
And like, they're like, some are really good. And then some are just like, dude, this is totally made just to be funny, but it's not. You know what I mean?
Like the what's the Asylum? Anything they make is like, but I gotta watch it. I can't help it. Like it's oh my god, one of them, we watched one of them the other day, like, and it was just, it had, oh my gosh, who was that? It had the guy from the Brady Bunch. It had part of the Partridge Family, the old guy. Like it just had all these random 80s and, you know,
it's
70s.
People that are super looking for work.
Yeah. It is great though. Like I was like, what? This is Yeah.
I think my favorite one is Exists. That's my favorite Bigfoot movie because like
I have not seen that one.
You see like a Sasquatch in the movie. Like a lot of them, it's like you hear noises in the woods and it's people running the whole time, and you're just like, all right, cool, this is good, but like, when are you gonna show him? Yeah. And they never show him. Yeah. Like the Bobcat Goldthwait one, the what was that one? Willow Creek.
Yes.
Like I liked that because it was creepy as shit. Because they were like, you got to think if it was you, like in the woods in a tent, and then you just hear like these noises and shit out. You're just like, that's terrifying. And then you're like, they're gonna show them like destroy these kids at the end, and then you don't see them. Yeah. It's just like, dude.
Yeah. Come on, man.
And then they just show some creepy naked old lady at the end.
That's pretty creepy.
he like grabs them and is dragging them, and you're like, oh, they're gonna do something. And then all of a sudden, you just see this like moaning, creepy, naked old lady, and you're like, what happened? What is this?
We were filming it at the beginning of this week, last Monday, and I wanted to make a short horror film, right? And so I had planned. We got there early afternoon, and I was like, all right when the sun sets, we're leaving, because it was out in the middle of the woods, like by a lake, and it was just going to be dark, right? Well, I didn't manage my time well. And then so we still had like 2 scenes left. And when the sun went down, dude, it got dark, right? Yeah. So then all of a sudden, like everything going through my mind, every movie, every Bigfoot sound, everything. I was like, all right, we got to go. And then sure enough, man, the last thing we filmed, that was it. Everybody ran up the hill. We grabbed the tent, didn't even pack a tent back up, just threw it in the back of the car, because it was like, every horror movie went through my head right then.
So what do? You just like write shorts and then go out and like film them?
Yeah. Yeah. So like, I, when you do, all right, so I film a lot of the local car commercials, some of the cheesy ones, some of the good, I do all a range. And then I'll go about a couple weeks, and then I've got to be creative.
Yeah.
So I just need to go film something that has nothing
to do
one
with
else's
cheapy
opinion.
cars. Yeah.
Just mine. Like no one's going to tell me what to do with it. And then we'll just go film something, or like I'll film an investigation video or something funny with like our Bigfoot costume that we have. And with this one, like I'm doing a bunch of them because like I said, I'm watching like all these horror movies.
Yeah.
And I've got like 10 ideas right now I need to get out. So, and this
That's
was
awesome,
the first
though.
one. Yeah. Yeah. This is it. It's going to be like, just 3 of us out in the woods, no budget, just, I like
just
doing
having fun.
I like doing the processes too. Like I like doing the music, the sound design, the editing, the coloring. So it gives me a chance to do stuff I don't normally do for commercials.
Right. So let's take a step back, I guess. Like how did you get started with the whole thing? Like, were you doing it in school and high school and then got interested in video and stuff? How did it work?
Nah, man. I was around 14 years old, and I actually picked up my first video camera, right? And it was the type, the big VCR tape.
Yeah, shoulder buster.
Shoulder. Yeah. And I was filming for the church. Like I would go around filming highlights for Vacation Bible School, and I would edit between 2 VCRs. And then to dub sound, I had to hook up a cassette player to it once I had my edit, and then put music. So I loved video, right? I never went to school for it. I graduated high school, went to work at a rock quarry, and then I missed doing videos. So I started doing videos, and that just, man, it just distracted me from a regular job for the rest of my life. So, long story short, I started working for the YMCA as a communications marketing director. Like I loved marketing, right? And then we didn't have the budget to do our own commercials. So I just picked up a camera again, and man, that was it. So then from then, I had people calling me for commercials. The local TV station would send me people. And then that led to my own business, Watch Creative Studios. And then, man, I think I've done to date probably 1,700 local commercials, just car commercial, L'Oreal commercials, all those, all the ones you see that are just out there.
Yeah.
And
but that's what pays the bills, though.
It does. And I was reluctant in the beginning, like, because when I started doing it, I really was like nonprofit, artistic. Like I was like, I want to tell stories, which I do, but I got a call from literally the most out there car dealer in the area, right? He says, my production guy has left. I need a new production person. Can you come in and help temporarily? And I was like, I don't know if I want to do car commercials. That's not what I want to do. I'm so glad I did. Like I did his, and I was like, from then on, that literally shaped the tone of everything I've done since. Like just the fun and just the.
Was he just one of those like crazy, like loud car guys, or was it
our first one? He was on top of a car with a sledgehammer, beating the windshield.
Hell yeah.
And I still do his. Okay, so that was 5 years ago. Fast forward to last week, I did one with him where he actually painted his whole conference room green. Okay, so we have a green screen now, and so he's on the table surfing. I'll send it to you. It's the funniest thing.
Well, you have the raw version of him in a green room.
Oh, it's great. Like and then the one before that, he was in a Superman costume. And like I was flapping his cape, he was laying on the table. So if I'm ever in Hollywood and doing movies, I'm still coming back every month and doing his, just because like they're so fun. Good. But yeah, then I did his, and that really kind of loosened me up. And then I started doing commercials for another car dealer closer to me, and the general manager there said, hey, we want to put these in the movie theater before the showtimes. So can you make something funny, something catchy that's not the typical commercial? And then that's when I came up with Bigfoot. I put Bigfoot in the commercial that he keeps stealing the truck from this guy, you know, and
like the messing with Sasquatch beef jerky.
Yeah, like
commercials?
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we did a series of it's Rick Ram, and we did a series of where the Bigfoot would continually just steal whatever truck, the newest truck. and then from there, man, I've been hooked on Bigfoot, Sci-Fi, like everything. So I have fun with the car commercials, but yeah, that led me to doing some fun, just goofy stuff.
How long does it take you from, like, I guess somebody calls you and says, hey, I want to do this car commercial, to completion usually?
It depends on what level. So like, all right, let's call them like the local fun, you know, cheesy, loud. I mean, I can do them in as little as a day, you know? So they call me, I come out, I film 30 minutes, come home. I can knock it out like quick, you know? Usually it'll take about a day or so, but like I've done some productions that they'll take 2 weeks, something like that.
Right. Something you have to put a lot of time into.
Yeah. Those I usually have to include other people where, you know, I have to hand it off for, you know, those are the bigger productions. But honestly, for our area, that they really don't come around that often. Mine is mostly just do a ton of local spots. And like, I think in any given month, I'll do, I think at most I've done probably 16 to 20 car commercials, in a month. And dude,
how many fucking car dealerships do you have?
Dude, at one time I was doing them all. Like they would call me. I was traveling an hour here. And, at one time there, like we were watching TV. I'm not bragging. It was just funny. We were watching TV and 2 commercial breaks. Every commercial that played, I had done. And it was like a surreal, like, man, this is fun, but
dude, that's so awesome though. Like, think about, I mean, it's all your work and you get to just sit there and watch it. And that's pretty amazing.
It's fun. It loosened me up too. Like I was a stick in the mud before I started, you know, and then like
everything had to be artistic and
yeah. And then these I'm so glad that like everything I do now has his tone to it. Just out there. Yeah.
Well, but the thing is too, is it opens you up to, like, if you were doing the creative stuff all the time, like you wouldn't want to go home and make more creative stuff. You know what I mean? You wouldn't be out in the woods making a short. Now you get to do car commercials all week, and you're just waiting. You're stoked for the weekend to be able to go like make fun videos with your friends.
Yep. Well, and there's been a benefit too. Like people will see. I mean, when it was running, when the theaters were open, I mean, people were calling. They would say, I put my dad in the commercials too. They were calling him. They were calling the Jeremy, the guy that plays Rick, and it led other businesses to call me and say, hey, we have we want something out there. We don't want a cookie cutter spot. And so now for my business, it's been wonderful because I now am over here in a category to myself where, you've got a ton of people that are cinematic and they do beautiful work and they're all, they look great, but then I can be myself over here. And that's what people want. So like a heating and air company called, he wanted a Halloween spot. So we put a ghost in it. And we actually were able to put our Hill City Paranormal team in it. And so I'll get calls like that. And like another call with like, we put like a CGI goblin in it. Whoa. And another one where a car hit a guy and because he was looking at Bigfoot. Yeah. He was like, he was driving and he saw Bigfoot and then he hit a guy and it was for a collision center. So they call me when they want the weird, which is that's all I want to do. I don't want to do the sentimental stuff anymore. So
yeah.
Chasing Bigfoot can be a dangerous gig.
Wait, is that him?
Dave? Oh, come on, Dave. We got Bigfoot to catch.
Well, the cool thing is too, is that like you never know who you're hiring, what else they're involved in. Like that's something we found a lot with like printing is, everybody always wants the biggest, best, coolest job to do. But the thing is you might do something for, some lady might come in and be like, I need 12 shirts for a softball team. And you're like, oh, another shitty softball team. And then you do that order and you find out that like her real job is like, and this actually happened to me. Like, this is a real story. Like a lady came in for a softball team, ordered, and it was like 12 shirts or whatever. And she ended up being like the head, like in charge of like the Atlanta Braves, like
That's
ordering
awesome.
shirts and stuff. So like I, went through and helped her out a ton with the softball stuff. And she was turned down by like 2 or 3 other shops, I think, because they didn't want to do that small of an order.
Yeah.
And I did it. And she was just like, hey, do you want to do these? And it was like, hey, this is like, 20,000 shirts for this Sunday's game or something. And I was just
man. See,
yeah,
that's it.
sure. Cool.
That's
what I mean. Like you could do like a dentist's office or something.
Yeah.
And you find out that dude's brother works at, it might be like, some huge studio movie. They're like, oh, we need help with this. And you could like go do it. You know what I mean?
That's right.
You never know who you're going to run into. So I feel like you kind of have to do all those things.
Yeah.
How did you like learn to do video stuff? I know you kind of like learn as you go, but like, was there anything that like really helped you?
To YouTube.
Yeah. Well, I feel like that's everybody's.
Yeah. Like I just, it's funny though. 'Cause like you learn even with the early days of like 2 VCR tapes and then mini DV, and then you go to SD cards and all this stuff, like everything I've literally learned, every project I've learned something new.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So especially dealing with car dealers, because I walk in, I never know what he wants to do. Like he might want to be Superman, he might want to be underwater, I whatever. But it has taught me so many things that I then turn into, like when I do a short film or when I do like a Hill City Paranormal, video, like I learn just a little bit, and I'm fortunate because I get paid to learn. Right. So like
exactly.
I'm getting paid for the commercial, and I'm teaching myself something that I can then use, in my own entertainment. Yeah. But honestly, yeah, just a lot of tutorials and just trial by fire. 'Cause like they need them quick. They need to beat the other dealerships. So I don't have
that you're doing work for.
Yeah, the same ones I'm filming later in the day.
Yeah, you can be like, well, actually, we can do this a little bit better than this guy.
He's putting Bigfoot in his. Do you want a Yeti in yours? Like, so it's fun. The fact that they need them so quick has taught me. It's good and bad, but it's taught me to just really like go with your gut and just be efficient, and then just don't waste a lot of time. And just a lot of YouTube. That's basically it. Yeah. Yep.
Do you write the commercial, like the ideas, or do they usually have them when you get there?
It's a good mix. I would say it's about 50-50. Like some of the dealerships, they have like outside agencies that write them and do the buying, the media buying. And then I come in and I get to do my own little creative spin on it and film it. But the other ones, like where we put Bigfoot, Ghost, and all that, I'll write those. And I'll and I usually have a guy that helps me on just about every commercial, and we'll sit down, bounce around ideas, what works, what doesn't work, will this fit into 30 seconds and all that stuff. But I get a pretty good mix. I have a really good blend.
How hard is that to take like somebody's entire idea and turn it into 30 seconds?
I would.
Because like this is nowhere near as hard as you, but like I know with me, like when I'm making a video of a print or something I'm doing, I always edit it down. I'm like, all right, this is exactly what I want. And like for Instagram, it used to have to be like a minute, or it might even still be a minute. And I'd always be like a minute 14 seconds. I'm like, I cannot cut any more out of this, or nobody's gonna have any fucking idea what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And then it's like, all right, you sacrifice 14 seconds. And it's just like, it sucks to like cut it to like perfectly hit a minute. So like, I can only imagine like a paid commercial for somebody and getting everything they want in 30 seconds.
It's hard. It was because in the beginning, and I don't want to sound bad for now, but in the beginning, I was emotionally attached to everything I produced. Right. And so when they wanted that, like I would battle, like I would, like I can't fit this. I got to do this. I felt like I was, cutting the creativity short. But now it's honestly when it just depends on the client, because like car dealers and more of the more business oriented people, they usually just let you do your thing. You make the call, and having done so many commercials, it's nice because then people tend to trust me over what should and what shouldn't be in there.
Right.
But usually if there's a great concept, like the heating and air guy that called and wanted a ghost and wanted us in it, he, like for that one, I loved it so much that I actually gave him 2 versions. I gave him a 30-second, and then I made like I think a 47-second version that had the little clips that I wanted to include in there. So it just depends on the concept, honestly. But it's hard. It really is. That's why it's almost like you have like a switch where it's just like, all right, what is necessary to sell, and then what is the artistic part of me. And that's why it's so important for me to have an artistic outlet, so that even though I'm making cuts like every week to these, I always have in the back of my mind, all right, well, I've got this short where I'll make it 30 minutes if I have to, like I can do whatever I want to.
That's cool though. It just seems like, do they do like longer versions of these videos for like YouTube or their website or anything, or is it always TV?
It's 90% TV. Like I used to do a lot for social media, but when COVID hit, like most of them, I had one dealership do a Facebook announcement, but a lot of them even cut down to 15 seconds. So a lot of the stuff I do is either 15 or 30. Around here, we can't really run 60-second spots. Like the TV stations just don't run it. But you might have a few, like the heating and air company that wants the fun concept. They'll promote theirs on Facebook. But for the most part, that's why the Bigfoot ones, that's the original concept for this particular dealer. He wanted something so catchy because all the dealerships, they throw financing terms at you. They throw the new model, everything, and it's like you just tune out after a while. He wanted something that made just people like, wait a minute, what did I just see? And so we like that is the best. Like, when they rely, like we had a UFO beam a truck up one time. And I mean, that was, so those, you get those every so often, and they add a little fun to it.
Welcome back, Ramblers. We're here checking out reports of UFOs and even alien abductions. But first, I want to thank our sponsors for setting us up with this sweet truck. What? Whoa, not again! Hey, my wallet's in there! Is that Dave?
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So when did you like really get into or start Hill City then?
It was about, I would say it's been over a year ago now. And it's kind of a weird story because my video company was asked to help with a haunted history tour of the academy, right? Of the academy near us. They have a historic theater. It's beautiful. It's been renovated. It's just a gorgeous facility. And they asked us to help put on this event, right? And so originally we were just hired to kind of do a video of it, like to do like a paranormal style video, a walkthrough, stuff like that. And then I picked.
Was this like a real thing where they were like wanting to make a video about stuff that's actually like thought to be real in this building, or was it like something else?
It was, I would say it was 50-50, right? It was like, we want you to come through and we're going to let you go with an actual paranormal team that has a ton of experience. And if you see anything or if you catch anything, then we'll build off of that. Right. So I went in with the team, and nothing particularly happened that day, but then that kind of ignited in me a thing that I wanted to make my own team, because I'd kind of been doing, out in the woods, Bigfooting, UFO, stuff like that anyway. And so that particular event, I was like, well, I want my own team, because then I can bring in my own people and we all have video experience. And that was my main selling point. Like, I wanted to capture something on video.
Right.
And so that's actually how Hill City Paranormal came to be, because we didn't want people to think that it was solely a production, that we wanted a team to do it, and to produce it and to be in it, and so that you did not think it was just a commercial or something. And so that's how it got its official start.
Right.
And a logo and T-shirts and stickers. And I love marketing, so it's like,
yeah,
I have my own thing now. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah. So what exactly do you do for that? Like, I know you said you do like your shorts and stuff, but like, what else do you, I know you had like people call and stuff and say like real-ish, like haunting stuff. Like,
oh yeah. So that particular event, I had the idea to set up, I call it the haunted hotline. Okay.
Yeah.
So they'll call a number and leave a true spooky, well, I'm assuming it to be true, a spooky story, and then we'll put it in the podcast. Well, right around when we formed the team, you know, I wanted to share those stories that we were getting after the events, because from that event, people were coming out and they wanted to share experiences that they've had. And so they would come to me, and I was hearing a ton of just awesome stories. And so then that started the podcast, and then just starting talking to other paranormal teams. And then we started doing random investigations, and I noticed they weren't all for haunted places, you know, like, so, I mean, people would come to us and we were just fun. Not to say that the other teams in the area are not fun, but we were just, I think we were just fun to be around, I guess.
Right. Yeah.
And so they would call us, and we've done quite a few Bigfoot stuff out in the woods, trail cams. There's been a few haunted places. And then one gentleman reached out to us he had been abducted by aliens 3 times, and he wanted to share his story. So we drove 2.5 hours to him and interviewed him. So it has just from then, I mean, we've done just a good mix. And then again, like, I love doing video. So it's like anytime my investigations are a little bit different. If you watch some of the ones that we've done, they just have a different tone to them. You know, like we really don't, there's a ton of teams out there that do they have all the devices, and they try to communicate, and they try to do all that stuff. I'm mainly just getting the history of the place. I'll set up some night vision cameras, some trail cams, see what vibe we get, and then make it around that. So we have a little bit different method than other teams.
What's some of the like crazier stories you've heard, or things you've actually like encountered or seen or anything?
The Academy was pretty crazy. Like, cause the way they set that up was for that. I went through with the first paranormal event, group. And then when we did our own investigation, they basically let us use it the whole night. And this is like, all the employees have scary stories, right, of hearing something. So they basically just lock the doors and say, all right, if you need, just let us know when you want to get out in the next morning. So we go in like at 6 o'clock that evening. And, you know, we're goofing off for about the first 3 hours. Like, we're just kind of like, we got the whole place to ourselves. And when you turn around, like, it's just this beautiful place. So we're setting up the cameras and having a good time. And then it gets quiet, right? Like, it just, like, after a while, like, and then, there were things that just, like, you heard footsteps, you heard doors opening and shutting. Nosferatu. And there were stories, we were told stories beforehand, like when during the renovation process, and these are true, like these are, true stories, that the construction workers they would take home some of the artifacts. Like there's like lion heads that lined the theater. And so the construction workers were taking some of them home, and then they would take them home and stuff started happening. So they brought them back. And so they actually have those in the cases at the theater. So it's like that one was a pretty crazy, and that was basically our first big investigation. And then another one we went on, this was actually this year, where my wife and I went to North Carolina, and we wanted to go to the Cryptozoology Paranormal Museum in Littleton, North Carolina. We wanted a day trip, right? And this guy has this awesome museum in the first level of his home, okay? And it's in this little
It's always in some dude's home.
Oh, dude, like, it is like, I'm telling you, if you were remotely into Bigfoot, Paranormal. You've got to see Steve there. You've got to get the town. There's nothing in the town, right? There's a Hardee's and that's about it. But yeah, we go down there and there's quite a few Bigfoot stories. And then I go to film him, right? I go to interview Steve because I just wanted content for Hill City Paranormal. And he was like, hey, do you want to go out to the state park where there've been a ton of sightings? And I'd never met him before. I'm like, oh yeah, sure. Let's go.
Hey,
so
follow me out to this secluded park.
That's the way it was. Like, so we follow him and my wife, like we're in our car and he's driving us, like we're following to the park and it kind of dawns on us. We're like, are we really like, is this smart? Like, I don't know if we really should do this, but we do it anyway. And then we go, we drive, like it's in the middle of nowhere. It's a state park, right? There's literally nothing around. We park the cars and then I grab my camera and he grabs a walking stick. He was like, all right, let's go. And we walk for another 45 minutes deep into the woods, right?
Dang, that's where he has all the bodies.
Oh my God. Like, there were times like I had a camera and my wife had a camera and I was like, we have always got to be rolling. One of us has got to catch something. Like, if he turns around and gets me, you run. I don't care. Like, do something.
He gets me.
But we go 45 minutes deep into the woods. There's nobody around. Just this weird, isolated feeling. And we come out to an open spot where it looked like it was about, I think, 50 to 100 trees, right? Had been snapped off about, I'm 6'1", right?
Yeah.
So they were snapped off about eye level or higher where I can look. And they were snapped in different directions and they looked like they had been twisted. Okay. And snapped. So first of all, he's like, we stop. And we're like, something's weird. And no joke, it looked like a tornado had just capped the trees and they were folded over. And so we get to looking around and I'm filming Steve and his reaction. And then all of a sudden my wife yells over. She was like, hey, I think I found a print. And I'm like, all right, we're all hyped up right now. So let's take a look. And sure enough, man, I go over and she shows us and we measure, it's a 19-inch long print and 6 inches wide. And you can clearly, and I'm going to put a disclaimer before this trip, if you would have told me you saw a print, like I'd have been like, that's awesome. But then like, is it, is it real? 100%, every fiber in my body, I now believe it. Like we saw a clear heel indentation, the toes, everything. And then so we were like, oh my God, that's a print. We think that's a Bigfoot print. And then so we're waiting, like, then he had to go all the way back to his car to get the casting material because we wanted to
knives. He had to go to get the knives,
the guns, the duct tape, everything,
Right, obviously.
So we wait there. My wife and I are waiting there in this state park. We have no clue how to get out, right? Like we're just sitting on this log and all of a sudden we start hearing tree knocks, like all up in the woods and like hear like a grunt, it's hard to describe. So then I'm up with the camera. We're kind of looking around a little bit more and she finds another print. So we found 2 footprints in that one trip. And so that like, I think it was like 2 weeks after that, we were just still on just a freaking like, you know, like that.
Well, the thing is, I feel like if you watch these documentaries and stuff, like I said, I watch them for fun and stuff, but like you pick up on stuff in every single one where they're like talking about the knocking and they're talking about like stones being thrown or whatever. They talk about like tree bends.
Yep.
And it's funny because like I'm not like an avid hunter or anything, but like my dad, my brother, my uncle, they hunt every year. It's like the one time a year when I like get to just like bro out with my dad and my uncle. You know what I mean? It's just like I go for like 2 or 3 weekends in a row for shotgun season and I just go out with my dad and it's just like a good bonding time. Well, where we go is like family land, but it's like woods forever. Like a lot of, wooded areas of river. And we walk out so far and like I said, now that you have that in your mind of like things you've seen, like you're just walking really slow. It's not like you're like fully jogging or anything through the woods, But if you walk really slow and you're like looking around the woods for like deer and stuff, like you see things and you're like, oh, it'd be crazy if I saw like a Bigfoot over there, or like I saw something in the woods over here. And like I got to this one spot like way out there, like right before a ravine, and there was a tree that was probably like, I don't know, like 6 inches around, and it was fully arced all the way over. And there was no way, like there's no way like another branch fell or wind or something like blew this thing over. And it was just like a full, I have pictures of it. I'll send them to you tomorrow because they're on my computer at work, because I saved them. I like sent a bunch of pictures because I remember when I was hunting, I like had my phone with me and I like took pictures. I sent them to my friend. I was like, well, saw a Sasquatch like tree bend out here. Yeah. And I was just like, and it was crazy to say, but it's just like you see shit like that because you like, you know what I mean? We're looking for things. Like the average dude walking through the woods isn't going to be like, oh, it's like these are Sasquatch markers. You'd just be like, oh, like, but now that I hear like, oh, a common thing they do is like bend them to like show trail markers or whatever. And I'm just like, dude, that's a fucking tree is bent over. Right. Like, but then you're like freaked the fuck out. Like, yeah, I have a shotgun, but like I'm out in the middle of the woods, nobody around, like one bar cell service.
Oh my God.
Yep.
And there's just like, I'm seeing these things. It's like, all right, cool. Well, maybe I'll walk a little faster now.
Yeah. I'm good now. And that was, see, that's one of the things, man. Like, cause before I didn't like, I mean, I'm always a skeptic, right? Like, but I believe, but you got to be careful. Cause I'll hype myself up quicker than anybody. Right. I'm already there. Like, I'm like, you know, done. But like walking through there, I wouldn't have seen the footprint. Neither would Steve. And Steve is he owns the museum. We were looking at over here, looking here. And the reason my wife found it was because it clicked in her mind. She was like, all right, if this was an episode of CSI.
Like something caught her.
Right. Yeah. Like I'm looking for evidence. So all of a sudden she's like, well, if he was breaking the limb here and he stood here, like she went through this whole thing. And so she saw it. But honestly, like you said, like, I mean, there's like a 99.9% chance, like you would just keep walking.
If you were just a normal dude that didn't think anything of it and you were on state land, you would just be like, oh, these trees fell over, and you would just keep walking.
A bad storm came through and that was it. Right. You know? Yeah. But it's like you just said too, like it freaked us out. Like all of a sudden, like we had a feeling we were like everything kind of kicked in.
Well, it's that like little kid mode. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like you think somebody's watching you, or you watch a horror movie and then you can't sleep that night because like you're thinking about it over and over and over again. Yep. So it's like as soon as you see that marker in the woods or whatever, you're like, shit. Yep. Like there's something out here that can break this tree in half, and I'm just standing here like an asshole in the woods. Like,
and the trees, like you saw it, like they were bigger than my arms. Like, and I'm like, and it was nothing. Like it was like,
yeah, like I'm 6'2", like 300 pounds. Like if I jumped up and grabbed that tree, I could not bend it over.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. Like there's no way like a tree next to it with like a limb fell off could have like grabbed the top of this tree and then just like fully arced it over.
Yeah.
I was like, that's not going to happen. So I don't know how it happened. I'm not saying it's a Sasquatch, but like my, like, you know, you get into things. Like everybody gets into something. For me, like one of those things is Sasquatch. And like, I really want it to be real. I want so bad for it to be real. I'm waiting for the day where somebody's like found a body. This proves it. You know, scientists proved it. Everything's good. It's just you're waiting for that day so badly.
I know. I'm the same way. There are two things. All right. And this is a complete nerd of me. Two things. I want Sasquatch to be real, like you said, right? Yeah. And I'm a huge Star Trek The Next Generation fan, right? I wish the Enterprise was real. Okay. Like there's the two things, like every time I hear an episode, I love the hum of the ship and I love the doors. And it's just like, I tell my wife when we're watching it, I'm just like, oh man, if the Enterprise was real, I'd be in Starfleet. I'd want to hear this ship all the time, you know? So that's between that and Sasquatch.
That's like a super like deep thought stuff. But I think about that all the time. Like what age I'm at, like how many more years until, you know, I might like pass away or something. You think about cool shit that's going to happen to people like 4 generations from now, you're like,
Yeah.
I'm never making it that far.
Nope. I'm not going to see it. I'm not
Right.
like, there's no way.
Yeah. That's sad to say, but I think about shit like that when it's just like, oh, one day they're going to be able to just like, you know, they say now like, oh, one day they're going to be able to like 3D print body parts. And like, if something goes bad, you just replace it. I'm like, yeah, I'm a fat piece of shit. Like, that's not happening in my lifetime.
It's like, well, have you watched Westworld?
Yeah, most of it. Yeah, I kind of got bored.
Like all of a sudden, like midway, like I think
you get poured in some whole milk.
Yeah, exactly.
And then they print you.
And you don't even know if you're real or not. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like you don't even know. And then it's like, am I real? Am I not? And then like that's amazing. That show like showed me like, man, we might all be printed. Like how? Like we don't know. Like there's no way. You know, like
we're Elon Musk in a simulation.
Exactly. He's just having fun with us right now.
Yeah,
that's all
for real. Yeah, there was what's that other show? Altered Carbon, where you just basically get like chips put in different bodies. It's like that's totally like if you really thought of that like could happen someday. Exactly. You could just like download your consciousness, put it in another body. Like they'll figure out the electronic version of it. Yeah, put you in something else, and you're like, oh, cool, I'm this guy now.
Which it's just like Star Trek. Like when that came out, that was like the furthest thing, you know, everything in it is like, oh, that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. Well, look now, you know what I mean? Like all of a sudden, like even something as simple as a cell phone before, you know? So it's like, God, who knows what's going to happen? Like you said, the next generations.
That's what's crazy.
I'm a little upset. I won't see it a little bit
until something really, you know, like right now with Corona and like all these other things, I keep saying like, dude, the next thing that's going to happen is the government's just going to straight up be like, aliens are real.
Yep.
We have nothing else. Like you guys are so pissed at us. We might as well tell you that like aliens are real now.
Yeah.
And like, here's the technology we learned. We'll all share it. Free electricity for everybody.
That would not surprise me if that happened.
That's what I said. It's getting to the point where they're like, we have no more cool shit to give you. Like right now, they're like, all right, we'll give you full unemployment plus $600. People are still pissed. Now they're going to be like, all right, well, what else can we give them to get them off our backs? Aliens are real.
Aliens are real. Yep. And here's the ship right here. It's been back here the whole time.
Yeah, it's in Mount Rushmore. Here it is. Here, it's for you.
And Sasquatches are real too. And here's the proof. And then a freaking Bigfoot walks out.
Well, the thing with Sasquatch that like someone told me once that kind of like made a lot of sense was like in your area where you live, there's always those animals that like you see once in a great while. You know what I mean? It'll be like, I don't know, like a porcupine or something.
Yeah.
You know, there's thousands of them out in the woods right now.
Exactly.
But you might see one in your lifetime, or, you know, even a fox. Like people are like, oh, I know that you might have only seen like 2 real fox in your life, like running around. And it's like, okay, there's thousands of those. What about the areas like Northern California and stuff where it's just woods forever and there's only 4 of them?
I completely agree.
You know what I mean?
You never see it.
How often would you see it? And then if you are that dude that sees it, like if I was walking through the woods and I saw a Sasquatch, the first thing I wouldn't do is like, let me calmly pull my phone out, zoom in, hold it here. I'd be like, dude, holy fuck. I'd be like running in the other direction. I'd be like hiding behind a tree. Like, you know what I mean? I wouldn't have perfect footage. It's the same with like any of these things. It's like people are like, oh, how come it's always shaky, shitty footage? It's like, you're not going to be fucking terrified. I'd be holding my phone like this, be like, let me get this.
I wouldn't even be able to get the camera open. Like I wouldn't. And that was like one of the things when we were out in the state park. All right. I am literally my career is making videos. Okay. All right. And I still couldn't get like a good picture of the footprint, and I still couldn't get my camera. Like and that's what I do for a living. I cannot imagine like if I had something that it was actual being walking through the woods. Like I was myself with the camera. I was like, I can't do it. I can't, like, I was already nervous.
But then there's the other side of it too, is like, why has the government not had like a satellite that has like infrared, just like scan a giant area of forest and been like, oh, there's one.
Unless they have.
Right. And
they're waiting to tell us.
They just dangle shit like that until we get so pissed at them. Like, oh, they're going to revolt. Here's aliens and Sasquatch.
Here's
and everybody's
UFO
like,
footage.
Oh, thank you. I like you again.
Well, if you look up like, have you ever looked up like the Mount St. Helens eruption Bigfoot conspiracy?
No.
All right. So when Mount St. Helens erupted, supposedly, like you can go down this rabbit hole and it's fantastic.
Dude, these are all rabbit holes.
Yes. This one needs to be like that. Actually, might be my next podcast because that would be cool. Where it erupted and the government hid the fact they actually went up there and they had to dispose of all like a couple of the Sasquatch bodies that didn't make it out. And there's this whole cover up that the government was hiding that from the people because they didn't want the existence to know. But they're like, dude, you can find paperwork. You can find eyewitness accounts about this that happened. There was a few eyewitness accounts that said they saw for themselves straight up at least 2 like Sasquatch bodies that were put into a helicopter and taken off so that random people wouldn't be finding bodies. Right?
Yeah.
That's crazy. Like that. I want it to be true. I really do.
I know. You think about these things and you're like, why can't they just tell us, like, why can't they just be real with us for a second?
Yeah, I can handle it.
Yeah,
well, maybe. I don't know. If I couldn't, just let me decide. Like,
I know.
Oh, God, that'd be so awesome.
Well, we went, I think, was it last year or the year before, we went to Whitehall, New York for my birthday to, like, go to there was a Sasquatch festival, like, that same weekend.
Yeah.
And I've never been to one. And we thought it was just going to be, like, a bunch of people, like, being crazy and, like, not, like, crazy in, like, their ideas, but, like, just being goofy and, like, everything was, like, a fun thing or whatever. And we get there, and it was kind of like that to a degree, but there were almost everybody who was actually there was like super serious. Like, yeah, Bigfoot's 100% real. I've seen one. They ate my grandmother. You know what I mean? Like just shit like that, where it's just like they were so fucking serious, and it was awesome. Like we loved it. It was such a fun day. And then we get there, and then like everybody's super serious, and it's funny because in Whitehall, it's like this. It's kind of sad, but it's like a dying small town. You know what I mean? Like. Yeah. Main Street, half of the buildings are empty. There's a few businesses, whatever. But like when you get there, there's like a river and there's like a flat, and they have like the event there. But up in the hill is like a movie. It's like a big hillside, and there's this gigantic mansion on the hill. And it's like, what is that place? Yeah. And then people are like, oh, that's the old haunted like so and so place. And we're like, okay. Yeah. And we like walked to it, and then you found out that it was like. They do tours, like they'll walk you through the house or whatever and like talk about the whole thing. The funny thing is we get there, doors open, nobody at the front door to like check you in or anything. We just walked in, like 4 of us just walked in the house, went upstairs, started going through closets, like walking through the whole house. It's this super creepy old house, but it was such a fun day. It was just like, we went to a Sasquatch festival. We talked to a bunch of people about Sasquatch, like, all these fun things. Checked out this like haunted mansion we never knew existed. It was just like, it was so much fun. That's why it's like people think these things are like corny and weird and stuff, but it's like, dude, if you actually just like want to have fun and like get into it, it's super fun.
It is.
And the thing of it is like, it's one of those things like you don't know it's not real.
No.
So that's what I mean. Like in the back of your head the whole time, you're like, oh, this is fun, like gimmicky, whatever. But then you're like, is it though?
It is kind of rare. Well, see, and that's the thing that I noticed. Like I've always had a love for Sasquatch, and I've been in paranormal more recently and UFOs, you know. Yeah. But like, man, the community and the people, like you said, once you get to know people, and you break that wall down where you genuinely share stories. Okay, like it is like a wonderful group of people to be around, because I feel like. That's, I guess, the most surprising thing, like with the haunted hotline we set up and all that stuff, is like once you legitimately start talking to people, like it's such a fun thing to talk about. Yeah. And like you feel like
because you can just go and go and go with like ideas and theories and stuff.
Yeah.
As I said, like I've never been like super deep into it, like done a ton of research. Like I've watched a lot of movies, like super like asshole in the back. Like you think you know things, and then you go to a Sasquatch festival where there's like dudes that like commit their lives to this shit. You're like, yeah, I'm an asshole. I'm gonna stand back here. Like you talk about what you want to talk about. Like
I'm just gonna eat my popcorn.
I'm just this guy with this fucking like button up Sasquatch shirt on. And it's like, you know what I mean? It was fun. Yeah. And the funny thing is I have video too. Like I'll end up having to put it in here, but like like Brian, who's with us, one of our best friends, but he like works with us too. Like they had a Sasquatch calling contest, and it was like 4 dudes. Well, there was a girl and stuff too, but like dudes, it's everybody. Like with their backs turned to the crowd, like facing the river. And they just had like contestant after contestant get up on the stage, and they would do like calls of like what they really think Sasquatch call is. And a lot of these people are people that like swear they've actually heard Bigfoot in the woods and stuff. And I guess like Whitehall is like super known for like having them everywhere.
Yeah.
So it was just funny because these people were dead serious. They were like, yeah, it's funny to a degree. And there'd be people that would go up there and do this crazy funny like noise, but they would think it was Sasquatch. And these people were just like, that's not correct. Like, you know what I mean?
That's the right tone. No,
that's nothing at all what it sounds like. And it's just like they would do these things, and then these people would like win, and you'd be like, that was the guy who sounded more like, I guess, what a real Sasquatch would sound like. Yeah. They were dead serious. They were like, you sound like a Sasquatch. And it was just so funny because it's
my gosh, I'm gonna have to go to that.
These people take it so serious. Well, the thing is, we went there, and like I said, we did a little bit of research before we went, just because we wanted to find a Sasquatch festival. But like I said, the deeper you get into that stuff, they're all over the place. Like it's not just Whitehall. There's like, oh, next weekend there's one here, or there's one in Massachusetts this day, and it's just like they're everywhere.
Yeah,
that's what's crazy to me. Is this like there's things like this all over the place. So like if you wanted a weekend hobby, you could literally, like you said, like you could travel to like different places around the country and just like visit things and have a good time. Like you said, you get to do cool shit with your wife. It's like, if you really wanted to, you could take like a 2-week trip and just like go to these places and like hang out and stuff. And it's cool. Like I said,
I love it.
I don't want to sound super weird, but it's just like, it's a fun thing. Like, dude, not everything in life has to be so fucking serious. Just like
exactly
have fun with stuff a little bit. You know what I mean?
And it's a fun group, man. It's got good stories, and it's just like, like you get to know these people, like Steve, like the museum guy. Like while we were walking, to what we thought would be our death, right? Like into the middle of the forest. Like he knows Billy Joel, and so he was telling us like Billy Joel stories, and it was like, wait a minute. We're in the middle of North Carolina talking to a paranormal museum curator who is like best friends with Billy Joel. Like, it was like, I love this life, man.
What ended up happening with him? He just walked you into the middle of the woods and was like, here's some trees, and you guys walked back?
No, all right, so we found the footprint, and he walked all the way back to his car and got the casting material, like the joint compound and all that stuff. He came back, and we actually made a mold of the print.
That's awesome.
And then it took, God, I mean, so imagine like, we've been out there, I'm hyped up. Like I am like on level freaking, like I am like
running circles.
Hulking out. Yeah. I'm like ready to go. So we get the cast, and then like, it's super heavy. Cause like it's a 20-inch like footprint, like that deep. And so like the whole time I'm walking back like an hour and a half, like just walking like this the whole time. So it doesn't break. And like, so my adrenaline, my heart's pounding out of my chest. I have a footprint of what I think to be a Bigfoot footprint. We're out in the middle of nowhere, like it's just the most amazing, like wonderful experience.
It's so fun.
Scary.
It's such a cool story.
Amazing. Oh man, it was so much fun. I like you said, we try to do that and that's a thing I love about being self-employed, right? Mm-hmm. And being in video is very flexible because like if I want material, like I'm like, all right, I need to go to the lake today for drone footage, right? Like it's a trip. So for us, we really do try to go every weekend or two to somewhere else, even if it's just like where this place is supposedly haunted, let's go get pictures. Or this community, like you said, is we have a place, Withville, that is not far from here that supposedly has a ton of UFO sightings, so let's go through Withville and see if we can, talk to anybody that's possibly seen a UFO. So like you said, man, it's just a fun world to live in. Like if you don't take it so seriously and you genuinely want to hear people's stories, like I genuinely do. Like I want that guy, Robin, that was abducted like 3 times. I'd never met him, right? Okay, so here's another story. I put an ad on Craigslist, right? I said, "Have you seen Bigfoot, ghosts, or
That's
been
danger.
abducted by aliens?" Right? And then my wife's like, "What are you do? Like, be careful on Craigslist."
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. As soon as you said Craigslist, I was like, oh god.
I'm not like, I don't think things through. And then so I get this email back from him, and he's like, "I've been abducted 3 times. I'll talk." Right? That's like the first communication. I'm like, all right, now I have to. Like, now I got to pursue this.
Yeah.
So then, like, we communicate, and then so I tell him, I'm like, all right, we're coming up this weekend. I want to interview you. I want to put you in the pod. I want to video your interview. Okay. So he tells us to meet him at some public boat landing dock or whatever. Right. And so again, like, we go.
Why does everybody want to meet you at the super sketchy places?
Dude,
they can be like, hey, let's go to Applebee's. You're like, nah,
exactly.
Let's go where nobody can hear you.
Yeah,
scream.
the Walmart parking lot. I'll be in a black truck. Like, that's what I want. No,
Yeah.
Everybody's like, no, man, meet me. It's and we were driving, and again, like, we're driving. It's like we go through the town. It's like, oh man, I wanted it to be in the town. Like, we go through the town, up the hill, and then we get there, and like, we're waiting, and then all of a sudden we see him come around. Like, we see a truck come around, and he pulls in, and it's like the first 5 minutes you're like that, like, are you gonna, like, what are you? I'm not gonna kill you. Are you gonna kill me? I don't, like, what are we doing here? And then he starts talking, and again, like, just like a freaking wonderful person. Like, just like, you start listening, and it's like, okay, we're not gonna kill each other. Let's go. Let's talk about it. And man, his story was crazy too.
Not only do you get cool stories, but you get sweet adrenaline rushes.
Oh, maybe that's what it is. Like,
you're just addicted to the adrenaline.
I need the fix.
Is this person going to murder me or not?
That was my last Craigslist. I haven't done any since. I love
how you bring your wife into these dangerous situations.
I know she reminded me of that on the way up there. She was like, I can't believe we're doing this. I can't.
No protective anything. Oh,
no,
it'll be fine. Oh,
yeah, I'm like the guy, like, hey, let's go. She's like, Woody, like, really? Do you have a gun? Do you have anything? Nah.
I just look scary.
I got my camera.
So what's next for your video company or paranormal? Do you have anything big planned, or are you just kind of going to keep going until it grows and grows?
Yeah, we've got my video company's doing pretty well. Like, we've got a good amount of live streams and commercials coming up. But for Hill City Paranormal, we had a book come out.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, that we worked. We collaborated with Wicked Harvest Books, and it's basically like Goosebumps for adults, or like Tales from the Crypt. Yeah. It's just a series of stories that are fun, that are spooky, and we just did that. And then we have a series of events coming up in the fall, and it's going to be at a local country club here. It's called Spirits and Spirits. So we're going to go. It's for whiskey tasting, and we're doing it. It's really cool for us because, one, it's a cool country club, and you get to try like this world-renowned whiskey and stuff. But in the process, we're filming 5 local stories about. These are actual local legends that people have talked about for years and years in my hometown.
Right.
No one has ever done like a proper documentary about them.
So you're going to do like a showing?
Yeah. So we're going to we have 5 places that people have talked about. My whole lifetime, I've heard these stories. And we're going to the homes. We're talking to the homeowners. And there's one that is like, it'll send chills, like, it's just a crazy story. But like, yeah, we've got that coming up in the fall, and just rocking and rolling on the podcast. So
how's the podcast going?
It's good, man. It's starting to pick up more and more. I'm noticing, it takes a while.
How many do you do? Like, how often
we do? Well, right now, what was funny was what got me into podcasting is that's a whole nother thing. I did a true crime one 3 or 4 years ago. And it was about a series of murders that happened about an hour and a half from here. It was a guy that was tricking women into pulling over. They thought something was wrong with their cars. And so he would trick them to pull over. He would convince them that he would give them a ride to the mechanic. and then he would either try something or a few of them ended up missing and dead, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he had this was in the late 90s, and I was in high school, and this was before cell phones and all that stuff. And he had the title of the Route 29 Stalker. Okay. So that was like his title. And then like 3 years ago, we just did a podcast on it. And that was right around when Up and Vanish come out, the first season, and some of the really big true crime ones. And that just got me hooked on podcasting. Like, I don't know what it was. And then that one did really well. Like we broke the charts for a while, and it was really flattering that the story was getting out there. But it was such a heavy, like, we lived it for like 2 years, every weekend going up to where this body was found. The next week we were talking with this family member that lost this family member, and they think he did it. And then it was after that, I was like, I want a podcast, but I want something that is a little bit more like I was losing sleep over that, that would keep me up at night.
Some a little more lighthearted.
Yeah, a little lighthearted. And plus I love sci-fi, paranormal stuff like that. Like, that's what I love. I like true crime, and I felt like we were doing good with the case, but it just is heavy, man. And so that's why I kind of started doing the Hill City Paranormal one, doing interviews, telling stories. And it just kind of was like, oh, okay, I can breathe now. So, and plus the case is still cold. Like, there's nothing like, there's nowhere else to go unless they actually catch the guy.
Yeah. Did you start watching the new Unsolved Mysteries on Netflix?
Not yet. I need to, though. Did
I'm
you?
Three episodes in.
All right. What do you think compared to
It's
the
awesome.
old two?
Well, there's no host. Like the old one, there would be like the host, and like, it had the whole vibe. Now it's just like a current documentary on that happening. And I mean, it's creepy, just like it was, you know what I mean? It's like, the thing is, you're watching it, you're like, oh, like at the end, they're going to say like they found the killer or whatever. In the end, they're like, if you know anything about this, and you're just like, fuck,
what?
Guy's still out there.
Now that's another, on Pluto TV. I'm not employed by them, but I'm just like, I love
yeah, right.
you see my Pluto TV show. Yeah. They have an Unsolved Mysteries channel where it's all 24/7 of the old school. And like you said, man, like you watch that, and then at the end you were hoping for an update, right?
Yeah.
Like, update episode, but then some of them just like, oh man, he's still out there. That is crazy.
Yeah. I don't want to give it away too much, but like we watched one like right before I did this, and it was like same thing, kills like entire family.
Yeah.
And it's just like, yeah, he's probably like in Jamaica right now or something. It's like,
yeah,
dude, what the hell? This dude kills his entire family of like 6 people.
Yeah.
And he's just like out somewhere.
Yeah.
And the best part about it too, at the end, they're just like, the problem we're having is that he's a normal looking guy. Like, no crazy features. Like, just like if you were just like, man, this is what this guy looks like.
Oh, great.
And they're like, the one guy's like his best friend. He's like, yeah, he can grow like a really good beard, or he looks good, clean shaven. It's one of those where they're like, yeah, he's yay high. He's got lightish, darkish hair.
Yeah.
He has eyes in his head, and it's like, dude, there's no way they're gonna find this
hands.
guy.
I mean,
I mean, he's not one of those people that has one hand. He has 2 hands.
He has 2, all the fingers. I think that was what like turned me. Like, I just needed a break from true crime. Like,
it's kind of good that you did that too, because those are like really popular right now. But I feel like people are sick of hearing them. You know what I mean? Like, people like them for sure, but it's just like, I feel like, how many of those can you hear where you're just like, I'm in a stoked mood right now to like do something.
Yeah. And it is. It's like, so for us, it was like, there's only so many, because they're not fake stories. Like these were real. This was a real thing. This girl went missing, and we went to where her body was found. And so it's like, how many of these can we listen to and still be okay? Like, like I'm like, this should not be all right.
Dude,
but now, like Bigfoot, UFO, like I'll listen to that all day.
Yeah. No, for real. Well, that's what I was saying before about like having a lighthearted thing that you're into. Is it's like, you can go talk to random people and you're talking about Bigfoot, or you're talking about aliens, and you're talking about funny stuff or whatever.
Yep.
It's like, I'm not that guy who wants to go to an event or a party and hear people talk about politics or just like government things. It's like, dude, I'd rather bash my head off a block than hear you guys talk about like Trump or the administration again.
Yep.
Like, we're talking about Bigfoot in the woods. Like, leave us alone.
That's
like,
right. I'm going to go over and practice my call real quick.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's like, ooh.
That's exactly right, man. That's the way I am. Like, I just like, I've got like different levels, and like, I am like right here. Anything deeper than that, I'm out. Like,
no, exactly. I have a rule in my
good.
house that you cannot talk about religion or politics.
Yep.
Like, I get that everybody has their opinion. You are not an expert. You are a tire salesman. Like, just don't talk to me about things you know nothing about.
Yeah.
Like,
unless it's Sasquatch.
Right. Like, if we're going to have a
about
conversation about things and it's just, it leads into that. Yeah. But don't come in and be like,
no,
oh, this administration should do this and this. It's like, dude, stop talking right now.
Yeah.
I'd much rather hear friggin' Steve getting abducted 3 times or whatever that guy's name is than hear somebody talk about even Corona. Like, I'd rather hear anything other than somebody talk about coronavirus anymore.
Yep. What about Woody and his wife going in the middle of the woods with?
So that was a great story. I'm glad I heard that tonight. Like, I'm glad I heard that story. You're an asshole for taking your wife into the woods.
Yeah. I felt really bad. I really did, because we were there, and I'm like, oh man, you're right. And I'm so not prepared. I don't have a knife. I don't have a gun. Like, man,
this guy eats humans, and we're out here in the woods.
He could have. Like, I would have never known. Like, I'm like,
how do you think he makes those Sasquatch leather statues? It's all people's flesh. That's why you're
like,
going
honey,
to
it'll be fine. I need a new episode. Okay, I need to do this.
Right. If we lose you, it's fine. We'll get good ratings.
It's fine. It'll get picked up. It'll be a Netflix documentary. I promise.
All right. So, favorite books, favorite podcasts to listen to for other people to check out.
Oh man. All right. So, favorite books. Like World War Z is still my all-time.
Well, he came out with a new one, didn't he?
He does. Actually, I have it right.
It's Sasquatch, isn't it?
It is. Right
I
there.
saw that and I was like, shit, I don't read, but I might listen to that.
Dude,
is there an audio version?
I don't know. World War Z has an audio version. I'm the same way. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, I'm not a big reader, and like,
dude, I'm not. I know people say big reader. I'm not a small reader. Like, I don't fucking like reading.
You were like our book. Our book is like really short, and it's got like
big letters.
Stories. You were like that, yeah. So you would love that. But like, but dude, Max Brooks, like World War Z. First of all, the movie was nothing like the book. Okay. And like, that really made me upset, man, because the book, if they had done a movie like the book, like, it should have been done like a Netflix documentary series.
Well, they just had to show off Brad Pitt.
Oh my gosh, that was it was an okay movie, but like, compared to the book, nothing. Like this, like, this is the book I'm working on now. So
yeah,
and like
I'll do audiobooks all day long, but like reading to me, it's like, I just remember being in like high school and middle school and stuff, and they're like, read to chapter 6. I'd literally get one paragraph in and my mind would start thinking about something else I'm going to do later in the day. And your eyes are still going, like, reading the page. But then by the time you get to the bottom, you're like, you snap out of like what you're thinking about. And you're like, I don't remember any of this that I read.
I don't even think I read the 4 pages.
That's how my body operates. So I'm just like, I can't read. That's what I tell people now. I'm just like, I can't read. I don't know how to read.
I've got to love it. I'm the same way though. It's got to either have Bigfoot or zombies. Yeah. Like, if it's even alien books, sometimes they'll dive too deep into the sci-fi, but Bigfoot and aliens, I'm pretty good on those.
Yeah. I'm definitely a movie or a YouTube guy.
Yeah.
If I want to learn anything, it's on YouTube. If it's not in a video version, I just don't learn.
That's it, man.
So what are the best ways for people to find you, paranormal stuff, all your stuff?
The best place is our website. That's got like all of our videos, how to subscribe to the podcast. That's hillcityparanormal.com. And we're on Instagram and Facebook, Hill City Paranormal. But the website, that'll show you where to subscribe on the podcast, which we're pretty much everywhere. I think so. But we love connecting with people. So yeah.
What about your video company?
Watts Creative Studios. if you want to see a bunch of cool cheesy car commercials, there you go.
Are they on that website or are they on
They're
YouTube?
all, yeah. I'm gonna send you the latest one that I did this past week, and then I'm gonna send you the Bigfoot ones too. I'll do that. But we have some cool short films coming out too. I've got that's Thrasher's Lake Entertainment, and you'll see. I'll put all that on the Hill City Paranormal stuff. But that short film, it's edited, and we're doing some special effects. There's like 2 scenes we're still working on, and then I'll release that. So we've got some cool spooky content coming out.
That's awesome. Yeah, send me an email when this is over with like all your stuff, and I'll put it in with all this stuff.
Awesome. I will. I'll send you a bunch of links.
Sweet. All right, dude. Well, thanks for doing this with me. It's fun for sure.
Yeah, man. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Thanks, dude. I'll see you later.
All right, man. Have a good one.
Yeah, you too.